Hello, everybody. We're going to be talking about the Switch event and the impressions that we got overall from it.
All right, so let's get a couple things out of the way. Price $299.99 comes out March 3rd, 2017, so not long at all. Even though they acted like it was a big deal to play it at these events, even though it comes out like 6 weeks. So there you go. It's a couple of things right off the top if you don't know them. Let's talk about our impressions of the actual event. Boring as fuck.
A little boring. There was a translation issue too, where I think one of the guys was pretty nervous. That was actually pretty funny.
Yeah. Hey. Oh, that didn't go very well. Hi everyone, I'm Suda52. I'm from Grasshopper.
Yeah, that was it was over Studa51 who was really high energy. He's like up and he's really excited, but the translator's just like, yeah, there's a game with the Travis guy. I don't know.
Yeah, he just had this existential crisis. Like, what am I doing with my life?
Right, exactly.
And yeah, I don't know. So real quick, some things that I was looking for that they didn't talk about. They didn't talk about storage on the Switch.
Yeah.
Like the amount of storage on the console. They did not talk about how to expand the storage, though realistically it's going to be like SD cards. Right. It may have even been announced since then.
They didn't talk about specs or anything either.
They didn't talk about specs because I'm sure they're ashamed of them.
Right.
Let's see. What else? Major deals. Motion control. It's going to have basically all the Wii features, which are on the Joy-Cons, which is the controller. You could take off the little tablet screen and use them like attach them to a thing, or
people
you can
know
use
about
like
all
this.
that.
Do they?
Stuff. Well, they don't.
This
know.
was all only announced yesterday.
They know. They know about the specs of the Switch. If they're interested in the Switch,
They don't know the specs of the Switch. Nobody fucking does.
I meant to say they know as much as we know about the Switch in terms of specs. Let's get to the games. Huh?
No, it's also it also supports Amiibo. Somebody might care about that.
Yeah. Okay.
Amiibos. Let's see. It's gonna have some sort of like online service that it's gonna be free initially, then you have to pay for, and you get like a whole fucking game once a month that they take away whenever your subscription runs out.
I don't know if I believe your source of information. Where are you getting this?
No, that is announced information
from Nintendo.
Why the fuck did you close all that?
Oh, I don't know. Was that important? What was it?
It was Switch related information.
For this video?
Maybe. The system is not going to have any region lock this time, so
that's pretty cool.
That's the only forward motion that Nintendo is making.
It's the only way to get like foreign porn.
Look, all I know is that's the only step forward Nintendo's making right here is no region lock. The tablet itself has a 2.5 to 6.5 hour battery life, which is mediocre. Let's see.
For on-the-go gaming, though, you probably wouldn't be playing for more than 2 hours at a time anyway. I mean, it is a little.
I don't know. They got those people going to play at the b-ball courts in the commercial.
That's true. That's true. Yeah.
So let's see. They also had that part where that Japanese dude was like, "Oh," and went laid on the couch really awkward. It's like, let's just relax.
There's one part. There's one part near the end.
I don't give a shit.
There's one part near the end that was pretty funny. It's when Reggie comes up to Miyamoto and he's like, "So, what do you think?" And he goes like this, and you're like, and then he eventually does this. But for a second, you're like, "Whoa!" That's some great honesty, Nintendo.
That's Miyamoto's past his prime. He didn't give a fuck anymore. He's giving his true thoughts of what he feels about Nintendo as a company.
Yeah.
Which Nintendo is a shitty ass company. They just have good games.
Well, you can't say that a game company is a shitty company if they make good games.
No, as a business, I think they're really shitty.
As a business, yeah, they've made some pretty bad mistakes. As a game company,
see their YouTube policies. See their policies on fan games. See Sega's policy on fan games, and they're like, "Do it, fam."
Yeah.
You make games better than us.
Anyway, let's get to the games, huh? Let's talk about some of these big.
All right,
games.
What matters?
Let's do the awards, huh? Let's just get to the awards. That's how we'll announce each game.
This is gonna be such a clusterfuck if we just jump to the awards.
Let's just jump to the awards. That's how we announce the games. This is the Boo Review Awards given to Nintendo Switch event. It's annual.
All right, feature that will be immediately forgotten and never used is the one that we haven't talked about because of the way we're doing this fucking video now. And that's the rumble feature of the controllers, where you can get the localized rumble and feel the amount of ice cubes in a glass.
Right.
That is the biggest feature of the Wii U.
And it can also...
And it's also the reason that the controllers probably cost $50 fucking for one of those tiny ass pieces of shit, or $80 if you get the bundle, because that's a sweet deal.
They can also like read how your distance of your hand. They can tell what you're doing with your hand. I don't know how that's actually going to come into play. That was a big failure, I think, of the whole event. So they didn't really show how that's going to come into play in other games that we actually want to play.
Because it's not.
They only showed it really in a couple of games.
1-2 Switch and ARMS.
1-2 Switch and ARMS, which I guess we'll get
Which,
into.
I mean, I think ARMS will be kind of fun, but just, I don't know. I think it'll be pretty fun. I don't think I'd pay $60 for it, or in 1-2 Switch, which I think will just be a tech demo for mini games and stuff like that.
Right.
Let's see. What else? Best value goes to that Nintendo Online service I just described. Piece of shit. Let's see. What else we got? We already touched on the best translation moment. That was Suda51.
Right.
The most embarrassing game to play is 1-2 Switch. While we're on the topic of 1-2 Switch,
That was his most embarrassing game. I chose Skyrim because no one cares about Skyrim anymore.
dude, it's probably it's probably in the top 5 games that they showed because the rest were so okay.
Skyrim. I mean, I thought Skyrim's okay. It's a good game, but it's just like, do we really care about this old game for a new system? Like, I feel like it's just kind of just who cares?
Look, I like it because it's Bethesda being like, "Hey, we'll support you," but the slap in the face is, "Here's this game that we released
Well, I don't like
6 years ago."
I don't like that. I do think that's pretty insulting, and I just don't think anybody should be. That's not going to sell the system. An old game. It's just not.
The bigger takeaway from that is that Bethesda will support the Nintendo system, so potentially you can get your newer Bethesda games on it as they are released. So in the future, Dishonored games, Elder Scrolls games, Fallout games, Bethesda has id, right, which is Doom and all that.
Yeah, so that's pretty cool. Yeah, new Doom would be, because I like the first Doom a lot.
So Bethesda has other stuff, so the potential for that is a bigger takeaway. That's why I don't think Skyrim is an embarrassing announcement. It has further implications. Likewise, FIFA being announced for it, nobody gives a fuck. But the bigger implications from a business model is the Switch, to sell units, needs all the games that people would buy on other things. The sports titles, 2K is supporting it, like the NBA games and their sports titles. I don't give a shit, but a lot of people buy those every year, the new one, with the most minor of differences. It's a whole shit-ass model right there. From those sports games developers. I'm looking at you, EA, 2K. Even though 2K makes BioShock, which I actually like. Yeah, I don't really have anything else to say about that. It's just, it's an important from a business standpoint that they get those games. And hopefully the shitty Activision games that I don't care about too, they're games that sell. And for the Switch to be successful, it needs those games just for the mass appeal.
What else we got?
Okay. So, game no one asked for, but we're getting anyway. Ultra Street Fighter 2. Featuring Evil Ryu and Violent Ken.
Actually, you know what? I'm gonna switch my Skyrim to this one. Game no one asked for, but we're getting anyways. Skyrim.
I mean,
I've got a lot of. I'm pretty pent up about this.
Dude, Skyrim Remastered is a pretty good seller. Over the holidays.
Is it remastered?
It's gonna be the remaster version. I mean, the Switch probably can't run it as well as anything else, but that's why they didn't release the specs. Because like you combine that with Xenoblade 2's frame rate, you finally get a 30 FPS.
Let's not even get into the frame rate thing again. I don't think that there was a frame rate issue. I thought it was pretty smooth, and I am super excited for Xenoblade.
Let's see. What was I gonna say? Oh yeah, Ultra Street Fighter 2. Really cool. I just hope it comes out on a better system. And basically by a better system, I mean one that has better controllers for a fighting game. The Switch does not have controllers built for a fighting game.
Right, yeah.
I mean, I guess casually it'd be fine, but I think the suggested retail price of Ultra Street Fighter 2 at this point is $40. And that's like a lot.
Yeah, it's a lot, yeah.
But it's going to have new modes and features or whatever. But if you want to get, and this goes back to my most expensive feature being controllers for the system that I had noted, if you really want to play it at any sort of like reasonable level, you probably don't want to get a fight stick, or at least a pro controller. Pro controller $70, fight stick. Generally, they're about $150, give or take. So there you go. I already have 3 fight sticks. I don't want one for the Switch, but you know, whatever. We'll see. Let's see. What do we want to cover next?
Best game, huh? Let's talk about the. We haven't talked about like the best features of the show yet.
So we want to end on a positive note.
After all this negativity.
Oh yeah, I've hated on the Switch like crazy, but I've already pre-ordered my copy of Breath of the Wild Masters Edition and pre-ordered a Nintendo Switch. But all right, let's go. Best game for me, hands down, Super Mario Odyssey. Like, there's no question.
Me, I would say that, and probably the new Zelda. But we have seen Zelda 4, so it's not as exciting as Super Mario Odyssey, I think, just because we're seeing new gameplay from Odyssey. And I love the Super Mario series, so that's pretty cool. Best game for me is going to be Xenoblade. For sure. I'm pretty sure, because I love the first one. This guy right here won't try it. I don't know why. Or he said he did try it for an hour, and that was enough for him to know he wasn't into it. But Xenoblade Chronicles is one of the best RPGs probably ever made. And so I'm pretty excited for the sequel. I haven't played the one on the Wii U.
Whenever a Western developer makes a Xenoblade, I'll try it.
Okay. Xenoblade Chronicles is way better than Skyrim. I'm just going to go ahead and say it. It's way better than Oblivion. And I like those games. Those games are very fun, but they're not as good as Xenoblade Chronicles.
But is it as good as Warcraft?
See, I don't know. I don't know if it's as good as Warcraft because I've never played Warcraft. But Warcraft, when I've watched you play Warcraft, which I guess isn't the same as actually playing it, it's pretty slow to me.
I have logged more hours into World of Warcraft than any other game by leaps and bounds. My second game with the most time in it would probably be Phantasy Star Online, which I had a few hundred hours in, but I've got like 2,000 or so in World of Warcraft.
It just, I don't know.
All right. My go-to defense is always going to be World of Warcraft.
I can't attack it because I don't know.
So let's see. Other shout outs, a game that looked really great, Project Octopath from Square Enix, new IP. Looks really good. That was one of the more interesting ones that they showed. They didn't say anything about it. They just kind of briefly showed
I'm going to use this opportunity real quick to say something I think games should have been doing a long time ago. Is I love the sprite art in Octopath Traveler, and I like sprite art in general. What I'd really like to see one day is for them to make a system to where whenever you can make a 3D sprite-based game to where whenever the camera moves around your character, you get a new view of that sprite.
3D.game here.
3D.game doesn't really do it. They're still using polygons, and it's kind of like a pseudo, kind of almost like self-aware look at what a game would look like within a 3D world, but they're not really using sprite art. What I'd like to see is almost kind of like what they were doing with the Super Nintendo way back in the day when they were doing, what do they call it? Mode 7. Where they were moving the environment. Mode 7 looks a little weird today. It's not great. But they were trying to move sprites around. So I would really like to see them one day do this where you're playing a 3D sprite-based game. And I think that with the technology we got now, it wouldn't be hard to figure out. I think they could do it.
I don't know what the definition of a sprite is, but it might be 2D.
Right, but you know what I mean, though?
But the equivalent.
Right, yeah, you're moving the camera, and the sprite itself changes according to the view that you're looking at it. And then we get the great look that we used to get all the time with these games, you know? I think that'd be pretty cool. I don't know if it's possible, but I think it'd be pretty cool.
There's probably like at least 3 other people that agree with you. So.
You're my homeboys. I've never used the word homeboys in my life.
I don't know. It's just like if that came out, I'd be like, "Oh, that's neat," and I probably wouldn't.
I would be I'd be like, someone heard this video. I'd be so excited.
I don't know, like.
Because I like sprite. Wouldn't it be cool? Wouldn't it be cool?
It's a novel idea. I appreciate.
But don't you like sprite art though? And to have it in a new form.
I think more games need to follow Owlboy's example in that kind of like high def sprite art.
Yeah, that looks really good.
Rather than just going pure 8 and 16 bit.
But that's still that game does look amazing, Owlboy. But it is 2D.
High bit is what people I think have started calling it. Something like that.
I like that.
Yeah, Owlboy looks amazing.
What else we got?
Okay, so
was that it? Oh, game of the year?
No, we got worst game.
Oh,
worst game, Sega. Just as a company.
Okay, worst. Yeah. Yeah,
that's all I got.
Bad, yeah.
That's all I got.
Worst game for me is Skyrim. I would say Travis touched the no more here because they didn't really show anything. They showed a picture.
Could you show the illustration, please?
Or Sega because they didn't show anything at all. But Skyrim, just for the principle of it.
You say they didn't show anything at all, but there was a sizzle reel of about 30 games. And from that, I'm going to pull the Nintendo Switch Game of the Year for 2017 is the tentatively titled Project Sonic 2017 from Sega and Sonic Team. Because I don't want that member of the Yakuza that they send out to remind everyone that Sega exists to come knocking on my door.
I think they might because you already dissed Sega as a company.
but that gave Game of the Year to their game.
Okay. To make up for that, pretty much.
Look, dude,
Yeah.
Sega sucks as a company, but Sonic has never wavered in quality. It's going to have a bigger world than Zelda, Xenoblade, and Warcraft combined. You're going to be freely roaming. It's going to have better gameplay mechanics than Mario.
Yeah.
I'm
I'm excited for the new Sonic.
It's going to have a better story than the original Deus Ex.
Yeah. Sonic Mania looks pretty good. That's another game that they're talking about. That actually looks kind of cool because it's like a throwback to 2D. Another game that looks really good is Rime. Now, that's available not just for the Switch, it's also for the PS4 as well. Rime is like an adventure game, kind of like, looks kind of like Zelda in a way. That looks pretty amazing. So that seems pretty cool. Anyway, what else we got?
I think the biggest blunder of the show was no Call of Duty presence.
Every game system needs at least 4 or 5 Call of Duties.
And without the consistent quality of Call of Duty, that's why I have to give it to Project Sonic, because they're the second most consistently polished games I've ever played.
That's true.
So without Call of Duty, Sonic wins hands down.
Irony. Okay. All right, we're good. That's the Switch. That's
it. That's the Switch event review and award show 2017.
All right. Let everybody.